What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Shop Talk Thursday. It's not a Tuesday. It's still a STT. It's just not Tuesday. It's Thursday. Now, of course, like I said in my Tuesday video that I released, I'm still trying to figure out the balance of the new schedule and being able to film these videos. So I'm still going to make them happen. We're still going to have them every week. I'm just making sure that I get them kind of into a process so that I can actually put them out regularly on Tuesday. Just got to figure out what that balance is within, you know, the rhythm and everything like that with filming and work and family. We're going to get that figured out. We're going to make it happen. But for this episode, of course, we're working on the dragon scale knife. Now, y'all have seen the thumbnail, so y'all know where we get to on this, but we got to do things like some more fall work on the blade. We got to do some bevel grinding, we got to do some heat treating and those things. That's what you're going to see in this episode. But, you know, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it and get this thing knocked out. So I got the center line marked all the way down with my little scribing tool. We're going to go ahead and grind down to that, and then we'll grind it up just a hair, and that'll be it for the pre-heat treat bevels. So let's go ahead and start grinding. So we're going to be grinding up almost to this black line that I have right here. And what I'm going to be doing with this belt is I'm going to be overhanging it maybe about 1/4 of an inch, and that's going to help with not getting super harsh lines in this little recurve section right here. Now we're basically going to be just blending it up into the plunge line area. So it's just going to round off out into this. And basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be grinding and kind of going like this. So basically, if the platen was right here, we are kind of doing this right here. We're kind of working into that recurve and flattening back out. Now, once I get to a certain point, I'll almost do the recurve section and then the flat section up here separately, but you'll see that as we go. So you can see we're almost up to the black line right there. So now I'm not going to be going all the way to the plunge for the rest of this time. You see how we kind of have it angling down? So now I'm going to come from here and I'm going to blend that in, and then I'm going to go up here and I'm going to blend it all the way in to the rest of it. So there's a whole bunch going on here. I did go through and bring this up here. Now I'm just bringing this section up, and you'll see it start to go up pretty quick as we do this, and then we'll end up smoothing everything together. Now it's not super crazy right now, it's not like it's super rough, but I will end up blending everything nicely together. Okay, now there's a whole bunch of different angles going on here. You can kind of see the different waves throughout here. Now I'm going to blend all that together. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang the belt off a little over 1/4 of an inch now. And by the way, be careful when you're doing that so you don't slice your knuckle open. But we're going to hang it off a little bit more and then go from there. And the reason why I'm hanging it off is that little bit of extra that's hanging off here will end up blending this real easily. Now, give it a little look. There's no crazy chunky waves to it. These lines are nice and even as they come up. Everything's nice and uniform. And now the whole point behind that is, for one, whenever I'm grinding it at this point, I'm pulling it over the whole entire thing. I did this section right here and worked on this section, and then I did a little bit more in here, and then I brought this up here, and then I went through and I drug the whole distance, and that's whenever I was coming over the platen and I was dipping and pulling. So I was pushing it, if you look here, I was pushing it back behind the platen, back behind in the recurve, flattening it and pulling it back. So this is way more drastic than what it was technically doing, but behind the platen, get to the flat, pull it flat, get to the tip, pull it out. So behind the platen to in front of the platen, like that, as we go across it. And then at the very end, what I was doing is I was letting this little bit of overhang right here be the section that I was dragging across, and it was flexing a little bit around all of these different curves here and giving me that nice even bevel. So the way this is, it's a little bit of a convex all the way down. It's a little bit flatter in this section, a little bit more convex in this section right here, but I went through and I let that blend everything together to give us those nice clean bevels. All I'm going to do, flip to the other side, do it again, and that'll be good for the preheat treat. Then of course we'll grind in more bevels whenever we get to the post heat treat process. But for right now, we're looking good. Now I just need to repeat this to the other side and then start the heat treat process. Got to go through and do the last bits of hand sanding and fine tuning on this stuff right here, all the scales, before we do the heat treat process. Of course, I'll be able to do pretty much everything else on the bevels after the heat treat, but I don't want to have to deal with fine tuning all of these after this is heat treated. Now, I will do a little bit of work, but I wanted to do the last, the main bulk of the 180 grit on here before I went ahead and heat treated, and then all I got to do is just do small little subtle fine tuning after the heat treat process. So we're going to finish doing the hand sanding, and then I can go ahead and start the heat treating process. So we're going to go ahead and start our heat treating process, and during this we're going to bring it up to 1600 degrees for our normalizing cycle, and then let it cool outside of the forge. And then we're going to do 2 grain refinement cycles where we bring it up to 1500 degrees and let it cool outside the forge, and then bring it up to 1400 degrees and let it cool outside the forge. And then for the quenching process, we're going to bring it up to 1500 to 1525 degrees, and then we're going to quench it in 120 degree peanut oil. And that should get us just where we need to be. So once we get through that decarb layer, we're going to go ahead, hit it with a 65 HRC file. And we're good there. So now what I want to do is get it down to about 60 to 61 HRC. So what we'll do is we'll put it in the oven 350 degrees for 2 hours times 2. See how that is. If it comes out and it grabs a 65 file but skates a 60 file, then we're right on the money. We'll just repeat that. But let's say it still skates a 65 file, then we might need to ramp up the heat a little bit more, go up to 400 degrees, and then test it after that temper. And then at that point, if it grabs a 65 but skates a 60, we're right on the money. We'll repeat that one. So if we pull it out after the first temper and it's not as hard or soft, however you want to say that, as it needs to be, then we need to crank it up. It's just trying to find that fine-tuned point within the tempering process, especially whenever you're using steels that might be unknown or something like that. This is 5160, so it's pretty simple. But yeah, we're going to do that. Go ahead, try it out after that tempering cycle, and then go from there. Alright guys, let's go ahead and wrap this one up right here. I think it's looking pretty awesome. Now of course this is just the finish after the tempering process. I think it looks really cool because everything starts to come together at this point. We've got bevels ground in, our file work and everything's done on the spine. We got our file work around the hole there. I think that's looking really cool. Now of course a lot of the work in the scales and around here are going to get intensified by the amount of time that it's going to spend in the actual acid. So I think it's going to look really cool. Now of course we're going to save that process for the next video so you can actually see everything that goes into, of course, cleaning up the bevels just a little bit more, and then what we're going to do to be able to isolate where the etching process actually happens. So that'll be in next week's video. Hopefully y'all think this is coming together and looking really cool. If you do, let me know. Comment section down below. Guys, thank y'all for coming by. Thank y'all for watching the video. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all stay safe out there, and I will catch y'all next time.